Hey guys, I'm Geoff Fienberg here with you for oddschecker.com/US, breaking down another week of NFL action. We've made it to week 6. Hopefully we can keep charging along here, guys. The NFL, they'll do what they can, I guess, to give us these games. Fingers crossed. Week 6, we're almost at the 1/3 pole of the season, although it'll probably... Will we have the Super Bowl at the beginning of February? I don't know. Who cares? If it's at the middle of February, the end of February, the beginning of March, the middle of March, does anyone really care? We just had an NBA championship end in the middle of October. So the NFL can do whatever they want, and I suspect that's exactly what is going to happen throughout the course of the fall season and early winter. Anyway, no one cares about that. We only want week 6 NFL plays. Before we get there, give me a like, hit a sub, so this, along with my PGA picks weekly, can drop right into your feed, and leave a comment. Tell me which NFL DFS plays you like the most this week, or which ones of mine you have no interest in and totally plan to fade. Those are my favorite comments. We'll start at quarterback. Lamar Jackson, 2-carry performance against the Bengals. I don't expect that to continue one bit. That's why I'm willing to pay the $7,700 on DraftKings and $9,000 on FanDuel. Ravens, 7.5-point favorites. I don't think there's a better team in the league at covering as touchdown favorites, clearly against inferior football teams, than the Baltimore Ravens. When they play inferior football teams and they lay a number, I don't think anyone covers with the ease that the Ravens do. They beat up on bad teams. The Eagles put up a great fight against the Steelers, but they might be too banged up to hang with the Ravens team this week. I think we get that multi-dimensional Lamar Jackson that we're so familiar with, that we won an MVP with last year. Well, we didn't win anything. He won an MVP last year, doing the multi-purpose run, pass, quarterback play. That is why I'm looking to pay up for Lamar this week. On a bit of a pay down, I'm going to Ryan Fitzpatrick. The guy consistently seems to fall in the top 10 quarterbacks in the fantasy points per week after his 353 touchdown performance against the 49ers last week in that outright win. I came on this recording a week ago and said the Dolphins ATS were my favorite play on the Week 5 NFL board. I didn't have the guts to bet that money line. I wish I did, because I did use that odds checker grid, and I'd have found a sweet number. I hope you did. I was just taking the plus points. It was pretty stress-free. Nonetheless, Fitz Magic going up against the dreadful Jets this week is a great matchup play. Your only legitimate concern is they'll just run the ball too much. But history shows us under Flores, when the Dolphins win, Fitzpatrick plays great. So that trend I like to think will continue, although this has to be the biggest number the Dolphins have been laying in the Flores era. This Dolphins team now being asked to win by more than a touchdown is something we have not seen in quite some time. Price point, just too good for Fitzpatrick. Also allows for lots of great Miami stack options if picking on the Jets is something you plan on doing this weekend with your DFS lineups. Going down to running back, Mike Davis. I love this one. 7,000 on DK, 7,500 on FanDuel. Davis hasn't gotten fewer than 6 targets in any game this season, or that he has started in place of Christian McCaffrey. Coming off a 9-catch game last week. Excuse me, got to catch myself. I like this one a lot. 9-catch game last week, guys. He's getting almost 20 opportunities a game. That's incredible volume. There is no one at this price point getting this volume. What absolutely makes me love this pick the most is the floor. When I mentioned he gets hasn't gotten fewer than 6 targets a game, that's the floor, guys. That's the floor. We ride this price point with that floor. It's an auto play for me. Mike Davis, Carolina, getting it done this week on the card for me. Going up against the Bears, they'll be fine. They don't scare me. It's the workload. I'm buying into it for Mike Davis, and I'm a full believer in Matt Rule. Cannot believe the Jets want to know where it all went wrong. Where it all went wrong, it was agreeing with Matt Rule to be their head coach and then letting that not happen. Because this guy's going to be around for a long time. He's a real coach. I'm real excited for Carolina and their future. One more. Mattison. Alexander Mattison. The Falcons giving up the 7 points to running backs this year. Mattison will get the Dalvin Cook workload. Gary Kubiak came up and said they're not changing anything. This guy will get the Cook workload. It almost feels like a LaDainian Tomlinson, Michael Turner situation that I'm incredibly familiar with from eons ago. It certainly feels like, but they have all the faith in Mattison, and so do I at the $7,200 DK price point, $7,000 on FanDuel. Finished with over 5.5 yards a carry and 100 yards on 3 catches and a half last week. Davis and Mattison, these are two backups that step in and they get that front load workload. They get that premier star running back is on the team workload that those guys get when Cook and McCaffrey are healthy. I guess you can't really compare anything to McCaffrey's workload, to be perfectly honest. Wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., 6,400 on DK, 6,700 on FanDuel. I like this pick. I think it was a sneaky pick, and I believe Odell going home with a bit of a tummy flu early in the week can make it even a sneakier pick. He's tested negative for COVID, I believe, 2 times now. I'm sure they'll be doing insurance testing on that, but it doesn't believe that it is COVID. It just believes the guy got sick and went home. Like lots of us, I guess. Obviously, there are concerns when we're not feeling well these days, real ones, and we should take them very seriously. In Beckham's case, feels like it was just a little thing, and he should be ready to go. Anyway, now we'll make the sell. 8 and 9 targets in his last 2 games. Gets the Steelers defense who can give up big plays. They do give up big plays. I think the Steelers will be leading this game. I think that creates opportunities. I'm concerned about the Mayfield injury, but I think there's so many factors here that are going to be putting people off Beckham this week, between the Mayfield status, between his I don't know, not feeling great, between how great people think the Steelers are. Sneaky low ownership for a guy like Beckham this week. At least that's my projection on it. I'm going to the well with Beckham. Another one, A.J. Brown, 5,600 on DraftKings, 6,500 in FanDuel. Brown has 8-9 targets in his past 2 games this year. He has 45% share of the targets and air yards on the Titans right now. This price point for a number 1 receiver playing with a quarterback who, you know, there's still questions. Will he finally turn into a pumpkin at some point? Maybe. Who knows? But ever since he's gotten that job in Tennessee, his stat line's compared to some of the best in the league. So if this was, say, a different quarterback with similar stats but a different name and his number 1 wide receiver, we would probably be paying more for A.J. Green. So he can make a case, and anyways, a great value play on A.J. Brown. Him, guys like AJ, guys like DK Metcalf, they are changing the game at the receiver position right now. We're seeing it every Sunday. Tight end, Eric Ebron, full disclosure. It's messy around me, and I guess I had Ebron on last week's notes, and I must have grabbed the last week's notes on tight end, and I read those, so I had to totally re-record, because then I went on to read more of last week's notes until I realized when talking about a defense that, nope, they're playing, and I don't have COVID concerns there. Nonetheless, so I'm just recording this for maybe a 3rd or 4th time, but practice makes perfect. My own fault each time. From a microphone to reading the wrong note to everything. My fault every time. Got to be accountable. Anyhow, Eric Ebron, going back to Ebron again this week, he's getting 35% of the Steelers' air yards and targets, which is actually just barely more than Washington and Juju. He had another 6 targets last week, and if he can find the end zone, this will pay off huge at his price point in a big way. Incredibly athletic player. The Steelers will be playing the Browns this weekend. With the emergence of Chase Claypool to go with the other targets there, you mentioned Juju, James Washington, Deontay Johnson appears to be healthy. This could create some really quality matchups for Ebron. Maybe even a sneaky guy to try to acquire in your leagues. Moving on, tight end, Tyler Eifert. A few paydown options at tight end this week. His production has really not been there this year, but he's received 6 and 7 targets in his last 2 games. He has to cash in on half of those catches and hopefully find the end zone for this to make me sound real smart about this one. But it's a fine play, and if you're looking to save money, I don't really love a ton at tight end this week. This might be the spot to do it. Tyler Eifert. The Titans. 2,800 on DK, 4,000 on FanDuel, the 7 most pressures of any team in football right now, and they get Houston, who has a propensity to give up sacks. They have the 12th worst adjusted sack rate in the NFL. Deshaun Watson, he's great. He's elite. He is special, but he still has an ability to make mistakes. He still takes a sack or 2. Maybe one of those sacks leads to a turnover, and we get one of those fun big point plays that the Titans certainly capable of with their pretty nasty, in many ways, no-name defense. Colts, 4,000 on DK, 5,000 on FanDuel. Really hope Leonard is healthy here, guys. But the Colts are the third highest priced defense this week, and for a good reason. They pressure the sixth most in the league, and they get the Bengals this week. The Bengals' offensive line has been absolutely abysmal. Burrow gets hit. Joe Burrow is one tough cookie. Watching this guy, worthy of the pick, has a great ball, sees the game perfectly. But the thing that has stood out to me the most has been his toughness. Because the kid gets smoked. Well, I think the Colts have a big bounce-back game this week, guys. And hopefully Burrow makes a rookie mistake or two, and one of those hits make him feel bad. And we get one of those slate-changing Colts defensive touchdowns. That's how I see this one happening. I'm Geoff Fienberg. Don't forget, like, sub, comment, all that good stuff. I'll be back again next week breaking down Week 7 as well as PGA picks from the Zozo in Los Angeles. I believe it's a Tiger Week. Rawr. Let's have a good one, friends. May the winners be ours.